Today, as always, we can cover anything you like, but first of all, I'm going to start with Microsoft Word and something called track changes. Now, track changes are a really handy thing. I'll see if I can see it better that way. Yeah. It's a tool for basically either sending documents to people where you want their input, or just generally collaborating on things, working on big documents together. And the idea is that you can make changes, other people can make changes, you can look at the changes that have been made, and you can approve them or reject them. So it's really just something where you can send a document to somebody and say, do you think this is okay? And then when they send it back, they make loads of changes. You can say, well, actually, I agree with that one, but not that one. That's the general principle. So it's pretty straightforward. Let me just get a document. So here's one I prepared earlier. A document about video. So you should have a document here to thread blogs. Now, what I want to do is I want to track changes so that I can get a colleague to have a look at it and they can tinker around with it. And the first thing I do is click on the Review tab and then click on Track Changes. If I just click in the middle of that, it switches Track Changes on. And that's it. That's switched on now. Now changes can be made. So, for example, if I change this so that rather than saying Dear Sir, it says Dear Fred, let's be a bit more personal about it. And down here I can add some other stuff. What it's doing is adding the extra text in there, but it's showing it in red because it's not been approved. And anything I've deleted has been crossed out. Again, it's not confirming it because it's not been approved. Is everybody still connected, or is this my dodgy internet connection? Yeah. I can see there's loads of disconnected things. Hang on just a second. I want to see.
No, good.
It's here. Connected.
Yeah? You okay? Let me just try something.
Yeah.
All there. Good.
Mhm.
Right. Okay, so I've switched on track changes, and I've made some changes by just working in the normal way, and then what it's done is it's shown those in red. So this is basically somebody looking at my document and doing their adjustments to it. The other thing they can do is they can add comments. So, for example, if somebody wants to make a comment about this title, all they can do is select that and then click on New Comment. And then here they can put in, their bit of input about it. So they can put something in there like, I don't know. That'll do. And if they want to put another comment down here, they can select that, click on New Comment. And generally, they can offer all sorts of input. So this is what, this is somebody else's input on my document. And then they can save it and send it back to me. And then now I can go through and I can accept or reject those changes. So at the moment, the document's still exactly the same. It's just got these kind of additions there. Now, if I look at it and think, that blah, blah, I can accept that. I can click on that, right mouse click, and then say accept. It just accepts that new stuff that's added in. Or I can go up to the button at the top and click on accept. Or I can look through it and say, actually, I just want to accept all of them. And then I can just come up here and I can click on the drop down on where it says accept, and I can say accept all changes. That way, then it all becomes real and it's all accepted. Alternatively, if I don't want something, I can click on reject, and then it ignores that change. Now, that's how I'll go through dealing with the document. As far as the comments are concerned, I can then look at the comment, and I can either reply to it, and we can have an ongoing dialogue about these different comments down the side, or I can just say, yeah, that's been dealt with, and then I can just delete it. I can click on the next comment and delete it, or I can just select delete all comments, and it gets rid of the comments. So now my document's finished and I'm ready to go, pretty much. What else there to say about this? Accepted the comments. What we can do is we can change it at any time using this all markup option here, so that you see different versions of the document. So I can, if I was looking at it and I wasn't sure whether or not to accept the changes, I could say no markup and it wouldn't show the markup, which I should have done a minute ago before I accepted them all. Or original and then see the original version of the document. But basically, if you leave it on all markup, then you can see the changes that have been made, and then you have to accept them or reject them. If you change it so it says either of the other two, for example, no markup, it will look like you've accepted them, but you haven't, and then it won't have any effect. So you have to accept the changes for the document to be ready to then be printed, saved and used. And that's pretty much all there is to it. Really straightforward. Now, did anybody get all that, or did it just keep breaking up whilst I was talking to you?
Perfect.
Yeah? Good.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
Crystal clear this end.
Excellent. Okay, right. So that's one way you can use track changes. Another way you can use it is if you wanted to track changes on a document, but you forgot to switch it on. So, for example, if you email a document out to somebody and they email back a new one, and you think, I needed to see what changes they've made. So you can kind of do a post track changes thing. Yeah, those aren't the right words. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a blank page and then go to review. Is it review? Yeah, review and compare. Now, there's an option in here called compare. And if I click on that, there's a couple of choices. The one that I want is the first one, which is compare. So it's compare. And then here I can select my two documents. And if I click on the browse one, I can see here's one I prepared earlier. Here's version 1. If I open that, well, say open to that, and then go to the second document, and I can select one I prepared earlier and click on open. I've now got two documents, and there isn't really much else to say on that screen except when I click on OK, as if by magic, it does the track changes for me effectively. So on the right hand side here, we've got the original document. You can see it's like version 1 or released there. And then we've got the one where I changed it slightly, so it's version 2. And in the middle, it's created its own track changes style document, a combined document. And what I can do from here is I can go through in the same way as I did with track changes, where I can say, yeah, blah, blah. I'm going to reject that. It doesn't seem like the right sort of thing to say. Down here, there's been a bit of changing in the writing. Yeah, I'll accept that. So I just click on accept. And I'll accept that deletion. And you just go through, I'll accept this bit at the end here, select it all, accept. And you just generally go through having a wild time, accepting and rejecting changes. I'm going to reject those two, so I wanted to say, dear Fred. I end up with a third document, which I can then save and call it something different. If I hit save, it'll ask for a new name, which I won't, because I don't want to keep it anyway. But that is track changes and compare documents for a post track changes, if you like. Okay, so back to a blank document. Still haven't got any internet. Does that all make sense to everybody? Is that is there any questions about that? Yeah, all good.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I was going to do a highly detailed and comprehensive explanation of table of contents, but then I just spent the last half hour trying to work around not having an internet connection and wasted all the time. But what I'll do, I mean, does anybody want to see table of contents? Because we can do this another day if anybody would like to see it.
We can do it another day if you want. I don't mind.
Did you specifically want to see? It was you, Angie, that wanted to see it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so we'll do it now. Yeah, because I just wanted to make sure that was going to be a work.
I mean, what you done the other day, I mean, that was pretty much just, I couldn't to how to do it. So, but I've done it since. So it's up to you if you want to go into depth now, or if you want to do it another time. It's up to you. I don't mind.
Okay, well, I mean, really, it kind of it covered it the other day. It's just about using the styles. Well, I'll give you a couple of minutes of doing it better now, and then if you want a more detailed explanation, we can do it another day. So, what you do is, if I create a document using the wonderful tool that's built in for doing stuff. So here's my document. And it's got some paragraphs in it. So the whole point is that you'd have different sections. So and then down the bottom, let's put one here. So this is a highly complex and detailed document that I haven't prepared in advance. The trick is to decide how you want your titles to appear. Now, if all I wanted my titles to appear as were just regular underlined titles, simple as that, then I can just do that. But the important thing is to make that a heading type 1. So if I wanted a really glamorous heading type 1, I could do something really complex, which I won't do today, but we can go back to that if you like. That's the styles bit of it. But if we're just going to use a bland one, I'll just select the bland one, then go up to heading type 1, right click, which is the important bit, then say update heading 1 to match selection. So now it means that my heading 1s for this document look like this. So I can go through and say, right, that's a heading 1. And then click on this one, that's a heading 1. And then down here, that's a heading 1. Now you can have heading 2s, 3s, etc., etc., and that gives you sub-levels for your table of contents. But the other thing is, of course, I think we touched on it the other day, the idea of headings of styles is that if you decide later on that you want your styles to suddenly have green text or to be bold or to not have an underline, you don't need to change every one of these headings. You just go into the style and then go to modify. And now, for example, I can change it to bold. So I make that bold, say OK. Now all my headings will be bold, like so. And then to add a table of contents, all I do is, let's put a page break in there, go up to here, and then go to Insert and select Table of Contents, which is actually on the Reference tab. It's on the Reference tab. It's definitely on here somewhere. So yeah, that's what I was looking for. It should be on the Insert tab. That's just wrong. Anyway, click on the drop down, select a table of contents that I like the look of. The ones that are in there automatically, they're fine. They're not too bad at all. Having said that, you can customize them and do various different things. But I'm just going to click on the standard one, and there's my standard contents. And where it says contents, I can click there and change it to put something meaningful. And then if any of these paragraphs move on to different pages, then my table of contents.
He's off again.
Am I off again?
Like a magician.
Anyone want to take the class?
Hello?
Back in the room.
Can you hear me? I can hear you. I can't see you, but I can hear you. Oh man, am I back yet? Okay, well, I think that's pretty much covered it. I think I'll have to just cut today's a bit short, I'm afraid.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me?
You're disappearing.
Can you just hear me? I'll just do sign language. But
Sign it.
yeah, I can only do swearing in sign language. So I'm going to go, and yeah. Well, hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. I think if you've got any questions, feel free to email them. Other than that, I think that's probably the best I could do today. So sorry about the dodgy internet connection, but hopefully I'll see you tomorrow.